ideas about a video, and this is what I show some of the COVID folks. I mean, obviously not in the hospital, but I get some post-COVID stuff or that telemedicine thing. So anyway, some of this stuff could still go along with it because you're still talking about breathing. And obviously there's still going to be some contraindications maybe as far as where the pacemaker is and maybe the incision down the middle. So obviously you're not trying to stress that, and hopefully none of the things I put on here will stress it, but if it does, just don't do it. Simple as that. Will this help you? Have no idea. It should, but I don't know. So anyway, the thing that I would start with is, just take a deep breath so that way you know what your baseline is. Because your bottom line is you want to be able to breathe easier. And so after you do that, I would still turn at the waist, left or right. One side will be easier. Another way to check that, besides just physically how it feels, but also turn and then take a deep breath on one side. Compare that to the other side. One side's usually going to be able to breathe easier on, and obviously, well, I don't know if it's obvious, but you're going to do the easier side. And you do 3 sets, hold it for 15 seconds, keep breathing while you're doing that. And you want to be comfortable. So it doesn't matter if your hands are here, doesn't matter if they're here, doesn't matter if you slouch, doesn't matter where your legs are. So the position like this is just as correct as this. The bottom line is you want to be comfortable and move to the easier side. Anyway, so after you do 3 on whatever side's easier, recheck how it feels to breathe on this side, recheck how it feels to breathe, in a neutral situation. Okay, so that's one thing you can do. If both of those sides bug the crap out of you, you go on to something else. But before I do that, another version of this, regular twist, I just call this neutral. It's just twisting and dipping the elbow towards the floor. So it's not a whole side bend like this. It's just slight dip, slight dip. One side will feel easier than the other. The key thing is you always want to do the easier side to loosen up the other side, to allow you to move better and breathe better and function better. So usually the next thing I'll do is an arm raise. Now that may be contraindicated for you, either from this or pacemaker. So if it's not, I would go ahead and do it, and the main reason being is as soon as you lift your arm, that lifts the rib cage. If the rib cage goes up, you get more volume in the lung. On this, if you turn to the easier side and you can breathe easier, you'll get more volume to the lung. And so you can do your arm in neutral, straight up and down. You can take the thumb backwards and raise it up. Even though it doesn't seem like much, it can feel a whole lot different on the other side. And so you got neutral, you got thumb back, and then you got thumb all the way out to the side, which really feels odd because I can't think anything you would normally do that. But on the other hand, when you do that, again, opens up the rib cage. But if you can't do that, you can do just a regular side bend. So you could side bend like this, you could side bend like this. And of course, if you can't tell the difference from one side to the other, you go to one side, take a deep breath, go to the other side, take a deep breath. Your hands don't have to be here, they can be at your side. But again, it's still going to open up the lung, which is what you want to do. And if all that crap bothers you, you can take your arm backwards. Now, typically when you take your arm backwards, most people tend to tilt forward. When you tilt forward or when you slouch or anything like that, you compromise how well you can breathe because your lungs can't get full function because the diaphragm can't pull down. Not that you got to know that crap. Anyway, but you can take the arm back because that still might free you up, and you can take the arm back like this too. Same exercise, but you're looking for whatever's easier, and let's see, what else? So that's the main thing. The key thing is you want to be able to breathe better, move better, these kinds of things. So one of the things that everybody has a problem with, whether it's COVID or post-surgical or post-cardiac, is you're going to run out of gas. And one of the reasons why you ran out of gas, well, you were under gas for a period of time. And so you want to start simple. So you want to, it's not like you got to walk 5 miles or anything like that to build up your endurance. You got to start with what you got. So the first thing I tell everybody, just about, if they've got this problem, is to stand up during commercials when you're watching TV. And you can just stand there. You don't have to walk around, because if you're on your feet your diaphragm has to act a little different than it does when you sit, because when you sit, it automatically can't function as well as it does when you stand. But not only that, when you stand, you got your feet on the ground. The only way you can get better on your feet is to be on your feet. And so the more on your feet you are, the better you are, or you will be, except this is not a sprint. This is a marathon you're talking about. And so in that case, you have to look at this as kind of like an interval. You know, you're not trying to stand here for an hour. You're just going for however long the commercials last. And if the commercials last 6 minutes, just do it for one. It's not that big a deal. Now, the other thing you can do when you start getting a little bit more frisky is walk during the commercials. You know, so there's nothing going on in a commercial anyway, so you can now have a choice. You can stand there or you can just walk around. So again, this kind of goes back to more interval stuff like track when, you know, you're not doing distance, you're doing, you know, more frequent, well, not frequent, but you know what I'm talking about. Anyway, next, if you can stand pretty well during the commercials and you can walk pretty well during commercials, another variety thing is just sitting down, feet wide, stand up. Have a seat, move your feet in, 1 foot width, stand up. Foot width, stand up. Feet together, stand up, and then you can go back out. Now when you do this, you are exercising your thighs primarily, but besides if you stop halfway, thighs are kicking in, hamstring, butt, low back, a little bit of abdominals, not much. So this is one of the best exercises you can do when you can do it. And so eventually I'll have people start out wide and then gradually go in. And it works the same muscles, different angle, but the reason why I do it that way is because it works at a different angle. Plus, when you get in close, now it's a balance exercise. And so as people get older, they tend to complain about losing balance, that kind of stuff. So even though, you know, that's not the primary issue right now, just to continue that, another thing you can do during commercials eventually is just walk heel toe. And so that is a balance exercise, you know, and then once you go forward, you can go backwards, and you can always do this holding on to a table, which would probably be a smart thing to do in the beginning. And then after you do that, you can walk on your heel, on your toes. Okay, that's a strengthening exercise plus for balance. After you do that, walk on your heels. Again, strength plus balance. Once you can nail those, then you do on your tiptoes, and you kind of go in a line like you're doing a tightrope, and you can do that on your heels as well. But again, all this stuff is down the line. Crap. You know, the key thing is trying to breathe better, and you get that with the other stuff that I showed you in the beginning. In most cases with the COVID folks or post-COVID folks or COVID recovery folks I see. So, any questions, let me know. But I think that's all I got on my list. All right. Hopefully I'll talk to you later. Bye.